We're bringing in a legend. Are you ready? Tony Robbins joining us right now. Tony, I'm in a mood for you. I'm in a mood. I'm ready to charge. Dodge Forza. Forza.
Forza.
Man. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm great. Nice to see you. Yeah,
see you too.
I knew I had to bring the A game today, knowing that you were coming on. So I woke up 30 minutes earlier than normal to have a little extra coffee, but also have, that people say, motivating people like yourself will say, create a little extra time for yourself.
That's true. Well, energy is everything, right, brother? So if you got enough energy, you can do anything. If you're low on energy, everything falls apart. Relationships, business, everything you can imagine. So that's part of life.
So tell me, what is one of the things that you need to do every day to maintain spirit, energy, drive, that equation for you?
Well, I do two things. First thing, I get up every single morning, and it's now people do it all the time, but I've been doing it for 20 years. I jump my cold plunge, and then I do my meditation process. And the third thing I do is I usually send a text or call somebody, acknowledge somebody in my life that I'm grateful for every single day. And it starts your day with tremendous physical energy. You feel fantastic, you're centered, and you're already in a grateful state. And when you're grateful, I think that's the emotion that most people are missing today. They're pursuing happiness, but when you're grateful, you're happy already. Plus, fear and anger are the two emotions that mess people's lives up the most, right? Their relationships, their business, their life. And you can't be grateful and fearful. You can't be grateful and angry simultaneously. So I make sure I go into that physically every single day before I start my day. And then, you got to have a mission. You got to have something you care about more than yourself. That's what gives you energy.
Tony, born in Los Angeles and doing some very interesting work, not only for people all over the world. Also, you stepped in and really helped out with the LA wildfires as well. We talked to you about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, we did.
Now, this is fascinating. You got to listen to this and let's try and crystallize what's happening. Tony is doing a worldwide music event at the iHeart Theater to support the 100 Billion Meals Challenge. What is the 100 Billion Meals Challenge?
Well, most people are unaware, like 40 years ago, everybody remembers We Are the World. And that was because there was this great famine in Africa, and some of the greatest artists in the world said, listen, music goes past politics. We're going to bring people's attention. We're going to raise money, and we're going to save lives. And, Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson and a group of friends of mine from back then all put it together, and it's historic. Well, we're doing another one, and this one now is called The Next Verse. And the reason is people are unaware of the fact that in the last 5 years, the problem with hunger has exploded all over the world. There were 80 million people 5 years ago on the verge of starvation. Today, it's 385 million. And it's all because of the Ukraine war, to give it as a big piece of it so you understand. The Ukraine is kind of the breadbasket for Africa. So there are about 11 countries on the verge of famine right now. No one talks about it. You barely read about it in the New York Times or something of that nature. And so, and when people try to get the food in, they have difficulty also with that, meaning if you know what's happened, for example, in a place like Sudan, everybody knows about Gaza. We've been feeding people in Gaza, the first people in to do that. But also in the Sudan, there's massive killing. It's the largest killing field around, and it's people that were starving to death. So the UN tried to send food in, and they killed the truck drivers, and they took the food. So our group, 100 Billion Meals, I started about 3 years ago. We provided 62 billion meals. It started because I personally grew up in LA, as you know, and I had no food on a Thanksgiving. When I say no food, Ryan, more like crackers and peanut butter, right? Not a big meal. And somebody delivered a full-blown turkey dinner to my whole family. And it changed my life. That's why I'm here, because that made me believe strangers care, and I started caring about strangers. So even then, I said, I'm going to feed 2 families, and the next year it was 4, and then 8. I got to 1 million, and then to about 10 million. And then about 12 years ago, I said, I'm going to feed 1 billion people in the U.S., 1 billion meals. And I got with Feeding America to be my partner, and I'm fortunate I did it in 8 years. It seemed impossible. Wow. Then I met Governor Beasley, who's head of the World Food Program, and he won the Nobel Prize for feeding people, and he left because when he started, there were 80 million. Now there's 385 million. And he's just frustrated with bureaucracy. And I said, let's start an organization, but it's got to be measurable. I said, how many meals would it take over the next 10 years to fill the gap while we're creating a sustainable solution? He said, Tony, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 billion meals. I said, let's do 100 billion meals. He goes, Tony, that's impossible. I said, I did 1 billion when I started. I wasn't a billionaire. I just figured out how to do it. And I said, we got to find 100 people that could do this. And so we started out 3 years ago. It was rough riding. We went to the wealthiest families of the world to give you an idea at the Forbes 400, and 3 people stood up and agreed. But now we've done 62 billion. We just announced it at the UN. And so now what we're doing is saying, let's bring these artists together because people need to know what's going on. And so we've got everybody you can imagine, from Dr. Dre to Bruno Mars to Usher to Janet Jackson to Stevie Wonder, John Legend, John Bon Jovi, Andrea Bocelli, Pitbull. I mean, the most amazing mix of people. And on the 16th of December, we're bringing them together at the iHeart Theater, and we're creating this new song called The Next Verse. And not only are they creating it, but people all around the world are participating. You can write a lyric, or you can take the basic part of the song that's already been started, and you can make your own song. You can use AI and create it. And we're going to use some of those as part of the song as they put this together. The person making it happen is Jimmy Jam. So Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, as you probably know, most successful producers of all time. They got more #1 hits than anybody in history. On the 16th, right there at iHeart Theater, we're going to make this thing happen. And then on Christmas Day, we're releasing it. iHeart's one of our sponsors. 9 out of 10 listeners of music in this country listen to your stations. And you've got a sister company that does it overseas. So literally worldwide, we're going to release the song on Christmas Day.
Wow.
That is, all of that information is so exciting. And you succinctly explained to us what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what's really interesting for people listening and how they can get involved. And you can submit something for this song. You could be a part of this song. As Tony was just saying, you can go to 100billionmeals.org. December 25th, you will hear it debut. iHeartRadio here. Tony Robbins, continuing to do good stuff. Thank you for the motivation you've given us. Just by watching you on your specials, we glean so much from them. And you don't even know probably the number of people you touch, but you do.
Well, thank you, brother. And if everybody wants to know, we now have our own network on Paramount. It's you can go to anywhere you want. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on, to give you an idea, on Roku. It's a place where you can go to the Tony Robbins Network, and 24 hours a day, we have free content where people can watch and learn new tools as well.
That's awesome.
You better watch out, you two. Sister Tanya, look out. I get a dose of that, a dose of my extra 30 minutes every morning. Put me with Kevin Hart, Pitbull, and Tony Robbins in terms of speed, energy. We're all going on a mission. We're all going on a run together. We should do a relay race. The speed of Tony Robbins, the pace of Pitbull. Kevin Hart's got the most amazing velocity in the world.
He does.
I'll cover it. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna host it now. You're gonna be a part of it.
I'll just post it on social. Great to see you. Thanks for all the good work. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Have a great morning.
Tony Robbins. See you, buddy. Bye-bye. I will now.
Bye-bye.